Schools are open again and traffic is very slow. So I thought I'd take time to talk about choices. Choices we make in life. Choices we make for ourselves and choices other people make that affect us. The thing to remember always is that you are responsible for your choices and therefore the consequences of those choices. If it's something concerning you, it's your responsibility. And you have to face up to the consequences of the decisions you make, positive or negative. But sometimes other people make choices that affect us. Okay, especially people that may be close to us. A spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a parent, children, a brother, a sister, you know, people that we cannot avoid interacting with, people that, you know, are in our lives and close to us and whose actions directly affect us. They too have choices to make. And their choices can affect us just as much as our choices can affect those that are close to us. I think that we have to be careful about the choices we make that affect people that are close to us, who are dependent on us, or who we are responsible for, let me say. And by this I mean people like children. You know, your children as a parent are affected by your choices, and they are your responsibility. And at that stage, when they're children, they have no choice or say in what choices you make and how those choices affect them. So you have to be careful that you handle those choices well, because they affect people who look up to you, who depend on you, and who in a sense are helpless to do anything about the choices you make. So for those kinds of people, definitely you need to be careful what choices you make. But there are people who should not be your responsibility anymore, should not be so affected by your choices anymore, because they're adults and because they have their own lives to live. But sometimes these people might blackmail us emotionally into thinking that we are responsible for them, or that we need to make choices that please them. You know, and there's so many examples of this. It's a parent who wants to interfere in who you marry, who you have a relationship with. A parent who wants to interfere with your choice of career. It's a spouse who won't let you, you know, have the freedom to do what you want, you know, for whatever reason. It's, you know, so many different examples I can give you. But the point is that these people should not have that much of a say in the choices you make, because really, at a certain point in life, you are no longer responsible for them. You are no longer responsible for their happiness. You are no longer responsible for making choices that please them. You have to make choices for your own life that make you progress on your own. There's also the other side of things, where people make choices that affect us, and we let those choices affect us when really at a certain level they shouldn't. Why? Because those people might be adults and we are adults, and we all have our own lives to live. And so when we give those people power over us to let their choices affect us so much, it disempowers us. It puts us in a weak position. Let me give you an example. It's issues of an adult who perhaps has a drug or alcohol problem. To some level, that's their choice, right? It's the decisions they made that led them down that path. Now, while it is your responsibility to support them and show them that you're there for them and that you're willing to help them change, you should put measures in place that safeguard how affected you get by their decisions. Because these kinds of things are very difficult to deal with. So you should be able to safeguard yourself emotionally from being stressed by their decision to drink or to take drugs. Okay? I had a relative who would call me every so often, every other week or every month to bail them up from jail. And they were always the innocent party. I was out with friends and somebody's phone went missing and this person got me in jail and wants their phone back. Oh no, I was somewhere and there was a fight and I got caught up and I was trying to stop the fight. And it's like, hey, so you are never the guilty party in all this, but somehow you end up in jail and I have to rush to bail you out. And I was always the first number they called because they knew that I'd come running and bail them out. And I realized after some time that, this was stressing me. But also it led me to be confrontational with other family members who I felt were not helping this person enough. When really they were, and I didn't see that. And I took their excuses, that person's excuses for their behavior. And I realized that in doing so, I was actually enabling the behavior because they knew that whenever they were in trouble, whenever they messed up, they could call me and I'll come running, sign a bond for them or talk to the police and get them out of jail or whatever it was. And so I just decided at that point I was not going to do it anymore. That if this person wanted to end up in these situations, that was their choice, to go out drinking, to go out and be involved in activities that were of a criminal nature that would land them in jail. And therefore I had no obligation to run around, to wake up at 2 a.m. to go to the police and bail them out. So this one time she called me and I just told her, she called me from the police and I said, I'm not coming there. You got yourself in that situation, you better get yourself out. I've done enough to support you and help you to realize that there's better ways to lead your life. And since you insist on making these choices and living this kind of life, that's up to you. I will not get involved in it. And you know what? I didn't feel guilty about it. I slept like a baby. And it happened 2 or 3 times after that until she stopped calling me whenever she'd be in those situations. She knew that I would not be there to bail her out. And actually that behavior decreased somewhat after that. Almost came to an end after that, actually, I would say. So you see that those are kinds of tough decisions sometimes you have to make in life and say, hey, it's this person's choice to live this way. I've given them all the support they need, shown them that, I want them to change, and I'm there to help them lead a better life. But if they're not willing to do that for themselves, then I've got to leave it. I shouldn't take on that burden because it's not mine, it's theirs. They made the choice, not me. Okay? And for parents, it's things like, you sponsored your child for school. They didn't pay attention. They went AWOL. They started misbehaving. And now they're in their 20s or 30s and they still want to live home and still want to live off you. Hey, it was their choices. You did everything you could to make them have a good life. The right thing for you to do now is to let them be on their own so that they make a life for themselves. Because as long as you keep facilitating them being in that house, eating free food, putting their feet up on the couch, watching TV all day, drinking, all those kinds of things, disrespecting you, it will continue. You have to let people face up to the consequences of their choices at a certain level. And secondly, don't let people's choices, other people's bad choices especially, aggravate you, cause your life to lose direction, take away your mental health, your peace of mind. Because there's only so much we should allow people to take from us, and only so much we should allow people into that inner space. We should maintain our peace and safeguard that. So, make good choices. and ensure that you choose whose choices affect you.